Welcome. I'm Bill Wake. This is my summary of the Works Week on Twitch. We basically wrapped up SortTables and then did a couple little housekeeping projects I had. So the first focus we had was checking if there's any active columns, because if there are no active columns, that should be an error. There's no query to do. Next we did was make sure that if you've getting ready to run a query, that you've saved it or at least had the opportunity to if you've changed it. And then the last thing in SortTables was we select a query to open now rather than having to type its name out. So that'll wrap up SortTables, at least for the future, or for this foreseeable future. And then Wednesday, Thursday, I updated code on a couple books that were overdue. Next time, starting, well, it's now this week, assembly programming for a fourth-like interpreter, and we'll do TDD with that, of course, as well. Let's start with a demo. So we've got a database selected. As we don't have any we don't have any classes visible or tables visible. So we don't have any columns in the query. So that's the error there on the bottom. If you select at least something to show, then the error goes away. And notice you can cancel, save, or run the query. If I try to run, I can certainly save, but if I try to run the query, I'm going to get a message. You haven't changed it, or the query has changed since you saved it. Do you want to run it without saving? You have that option, or you can cancel. And then I'll just do a demo of the whole thing as we are now with the realistic query. This is for a festival where you take classes, and you've got people and instrument or classes, and then the registrations. So with the class, each has instrument. It has the name. Let's call that class, because notice each of these tables has name. So, or at least person does. So let's differentiate it a little bit. We don't need to see the ID or the instructor foreign key. This person is the student. Let's call that student here too. And the registration, we don't really need to see. We need to use it because we have unjoined tables. But we're going to add another table. Another person, and this one's going to be the instructor. So notice here the instructor foreign key is over on class. That's telling which teacher is teaching which class. Okay, and we don't need to see their ID. All right, but now we need to link things up. So let's go add some joins. First, let's do registration. Class foreign key equals class ID. All right, and then registrations person FD equals, this should be the student ID. And then one last one. So we still have a problem. There's a cross product. Class registration and student are linked together, but instructor is not. So we'll need to link instructor. In this case, class has the foreign key and instructor table has the ID. Okay. And let's make sure we've got good names. We've hidden all the right fields. We can run query. We'll get the message. Do you want to run without saving? In this case, I will. And then we get the results we're expecting. So if I want to make a list for students, what class are you in at what time slot? I'm, Lou Archer's taking harpsichord and then voice. Or we can swap it around. Let's put the class first. And now I've got a roster for each class. So Bittabach has Carol Cart and Lassie Golly and so on in it. All right. So it's at a good point for what I would do with this festival. So that's kind of where I wanted to get it, and I'm happy to have it there now. Okay, let's see how that's being done. We have added this requirements columns analysis, and it's very simple. It has to give us back a message, empty if there's no problem. In other words, if it has active columns, and an error message if it doesn't have any active columns. All right. And then to make that do anything, we've put it in with database selection. it's the thing that shows that message, or at least is the model for that message. And it just takes each of the analyses and keeps any of the ones that aren't empty because they have messages and shows those. And then the implementation active columns, we ask the database, do you have active columns? And it does it by asking the tables, do you have visible columns? And I won't bother showing that. The view is responsible for showing that. It's down here at the bottom. And that's shown if there are any errors, then we'll show the error message. And that bridge talks to the database selection to get them. All right, let's go see how the save message before running. Okay, so the action for saving is we check if the last saved version is the same as the one the bridge holds. Then if they are the same, then we go ahead and open the run the query, basically. Setting this flag tells the UI kit, the old user interface kit, okay, show what you've got, and dismiss gets rid of this window. If it does need saving, that's shown as an alert based on need saving, and that gave the message about, do you want to run anyway? If you do, then we open and dismiss the window. If you don't, we cancel the alert and give you a chance to save. The last piece is the opening a query. And we've changed it so it shows you a list of the things that are available. All right, so I'll take this Q0127. This used to be a text field you had to type in and remember the name. So now it's there and we can just select it directly. Okay, and it's basically the same query we had. All right. And that one, that's done in the old UI kit, and this is Interface Builder. There was a text field here. We replaced it. Interface Builder is a visual approach anyway, and we replaced it with this UI picker, and we connect that to the Open Database controller. So that's the tie-in from the view back to the back end. Here's that controller. Notice we have a file picker, and then when we load it, we set it up with a delegate and a data source. So that tells it who should do your work and what data do they know. And that's implemented as an extension down here. The methods in here are all required for those two interfaces. So number of components is just one. There's only one column in that thing we had. The count is the file name count. The the title is whatever file name is in that row. And then the selection is make the selected file be the same as the file name row. And once that selection is set, that's what gets used in the actual open. So their selected file. All right. So that pretty well covers what we did for the first 2 days last week. The last 2 days, I just updated code examples for the refactoring workbook and design patterns in Java. So if you'd like to join us, we're on Twitch Monday through Thursday, 2 to 4:30 Eastern Time or 7 to 9:30 p.m. UTC, and xp123.com/Twitch will get you the live, or you can go to YouTube and see the old ones. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.